I'm Matt Bishar with NAREIT.com here in Washington, D.C. at the Marriott Marquis for the 2016 NAREIT REITWise Law, Accounting, and Finance Conference. Joining me today is John Divers, Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer with Community Development Trust. John, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here, Mike.
Now, the last time we spoke, Community Development Trust was coming off a record year, and here we are a year later, and things continue to improve. Can you tell us about some of the recent highlights?
2015 was another strong year for CDT. We had record capital deployment, we had record dividend levels, and we also acquired the largest equity investment in our history. But a most important stat that we look toward is we had a positive impact on the lives of over 3,800 low and moderate income families and the elderly. With regard to capital deployment, CDT invested over $36 million in our debt and equity portfolios, whereby we provided the financing for close to $200 million in asset acquisitions. With regard to our dividend level, we had a near record FFO performance, which resulted in record dividends of $1.14 per share, which included a 30-cent per share special dividend at year end. Based upon this strong dividend performance, we encouraged a number of our institutional investors to convert over $31 million of their preferred shares into common shares as of year end, and they were entitled to that special dividend. This had a significant impact on our capital structure, increasing our common stock outstanding by over 40%. Now, as you may recall, in early 2015, CDT announced the commitment of $100 million towards the HUD new RAD program. This is a program which encourages PHAs, public housing authorities, to enter into new long-term Section 8 contracts. Well, by year-end 2015, we've already entered into transactions for close to $65 million out of that $100 million commitment. Lastly, with regard to the new equity transaction that we did this year, which was our largest ever, a $70 million investment in Austin, Texas, which involved a $17 million equity investment by CDT. This transaction we're very proud of, and we believe it has some very unique features to it. This was one of the first public-private partnerships whereby we co-invested with the Austin Affordable Housing Corporation. This is a nonprofit subsidiary of the Austin Housing Authority, and we were able to acquire 2 market rate properties and bring them into affordability. The nonprofit subsidiary was able to bring a real estate tax exemption to the transaction, and CDT was able to bring 80% of the capital needed for the transaction. As a result, we both achieved both our economic and our mission objectives. We believe that a transaction like this can be replicated across the country, and we're looking very much forward toward this being a new model for bringing affordability to the marketplace.
Now, John, CDT is one of the companies that's at the forefront of the affordable housing market. How do you see this market continuing to evolve?
The need for affordable housing continues to grow across the country and in all markets. And it's not good for the country, but it's good for CDT in that our mission is to bring private equity to these marketplaces and grow the affordable housing stock. Some of the good news that was recently announced was that Congress passed the omnibus bill, which allowed for an increase in Section 8 funding, as well as an increase in the CDFI funding, which provides for funds for the affordable housing industry. We understand that President Obama's 2017 budget proposals include raising the cap on the number of units in the RAD program, in addition to increasing, again, CDFI funding.
And lastly, the company recently expanded into the charter school lending market. What was the reason behind this decision, and what impact do you expect it to have on the company?
Well, Matt, in order to expand our community development reach and impact, we were looking to areas where we could bring more to the forefront. There's more to a community than just affordable housing. And one of the areas that we saw a need was in the area of charter schools. In most of the early charter school financing, 5 to 7 year money was being used to finance these projects. We now see a lot of these coming up for renewal and the need of long-term financing. That's where CDT comes into play. CDT is a long-term provider of financing, and we recently approached the CDFI fund and got approval to use some of our, you may recall, $125 million bond guarantee money for charter schools. So internally, CDT has allocated $40 million of that $125 million award for future charter school financing.
John, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Matt.
For more from REITWise 2016, be sure to visit REIT.com.